Starting marathon training usually comes with a range of emotions. You're probably excited to get started, especially that first week. It's really fun to just get going on that training, looking ahead about what's to come. But it can also be really nerve-wracking looking at how those long runs keep getting longer. And it's very daunting sometimes to see how that mileage builds, wondering how in the heck you're going to get it all done. All of the emotions that you're feeling are very, very normal, but what you can do to make sure that you're feeling as good and as positive as possible about everything is to set yourself up for success. Hey guys, I'm Jane and welcome back to the channel. If you don't know me, I am an RRCA certified running coach. I recently just ran my first Boston Marathon and I gotta tell you guys, I am so excited to be on the flip side of that. I've run 3 marathons in basically a 10-month time frame, and it's nice to honestly just be taking a bit of a break and really focus on you guys, all of you runners out here watching the channel, whether you are training for a marathon or something else, as well as the runners that I'm coaching. I'm just getting really excited about the races that they have coming up, and it's nice to just put that focus elsewhere a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started with the topic for today. So going about your marathon training block, you need to get started on the right foot in order to make sure that it's successful all the way through. So starting with our first one, and that is to put all of your runs on your calendar. So whether you have a paper planner that you love using, or you're using your Google Calendar or something else, when you make sure you put everything on that specific calendar, your runs need to also go on that calendar. So just as you would for any work meetings that you have, or your children's sporting events, or whatever it might be, that's how you make sure you get to everything on time and that you schedule your day in a way where you can make sure everything happens that needs to get done, right? Your runs are no different. So what I want to encourage you to do is put those runs in a specific time block on each day of your calendar. So with the training plan, it tells you what you're doing on that day, let's say 6 miles. You have to take into account how long you think that that's going to take you. Block off that time on your calendar when you know it's going to get done, whether that's morning, lunchtime, afternoon, whatever works best for you, and you know it's going to happen. Plus, you want to also work in some time before and after to make sure you're getting in that stretching, maintenance work that you need to be doing. So the more you can calendarize your schedule, put it on each day, the more likely you are going to ensure that that run gets done. So the second thing you can do to set yourself up for success is making sure that you are truly running easy at least 80% of the time. So as a coach, this is something that I see runners struggle with a lot, and they don't even realize that they're doing it. The difference of having a coach is that when I'm coaching runners, I can nip this in the bud very quickly and we can talk through to make sure if they are running easy enough. If you're following a training plan on paper, you may not realize that you're going harder than you should be. So I'm encouraging you right now to make sure that if your training plan isn't specifically saying this, that you are running most of your miles at an easy pace. In order to build your aerobic endurance, do it safely, as well as be able to continue on with your runs and progress through each week as you should be, you need to be making sure that you're running most of your runs easy. So I have other videos about this, but essentially this means that you are running at a conversational pace. This is mostly zone 2 running, perhaps low zone 3 if you measure heart rate. And it is considered about a 3 on a rate of perceived exertion scale of 1 to 10. But really, it's checking in with your body, making sure that it feels easy and comfortable to you, that you should not be speeding up at the end and feeling like you are gassed at the end or have to suddenly walk when that wasn't what was intended on your schedule. So by running most of your runs truly easy, you're going to make sure that you can continue to hit the mileage that you need to week after week. And when we go back to those long runs should usually be at an easy pace as well, in which case when you see the mileage going up 12, 13, 15, when you are running easy week after week, you should have no problem checking off those long runs as is intended by the plan. Okay, number 3 is making sure that you are fueling for your runs properly as well as hydrating properly. This is something else that I see that is so common that in our world where we hear a lot about fasted cardio, that a lot of people think that they are supposed to be going out about their runs without eating beforehand. So I'm not saying that you can't go out for easy runs without eating before. People definitely do that and they have success with it. So I don't want to get into that too much, but I will tell you to reach your potential as a runner, to feel like that you have the energy you need to get through your runs, fueling beforehand is best, even for your short, easy runs. But let's talk a little bit about long runs. I've talked to runners who don't fuel at all before their long runs and they're not fueling during their long runs at all. You're going to really struggle as your long runs come around if you're not fueling properly for those. That means making sure that you are getting an easily digestible breakfast beforehand that gives you the carbs that you need. And any run over 90 minutes, you want to make sure that you are fueling during that run as well. I'm not going to get into super specifics, but this is just my reminder to you that you are fueling in a way that gives you enough energy, perhaps taking in some form of fuel that works best for your body every 30 to 45 minutes along that run. And I promise that you will be able to reach your potential so much better if you are doing this. Along the lines of hydration, you want to make sure that you are also getting enough water intake throughout the week, but also during your runs as well. On those warmer temperature days, it's going to be even more important. So there is no reason why you should be avoiding water, that it's very good for you, especially on any runs more than 45 minutes to an hour. You should be taking water with you. On top of that, some people who are salty sweaters are probably going to be also needing to take salt tablets. If you think that's you, that's something that I would encourage you to look into. It's something that I am researching a lot and hope to report back on soon. Number 4 is big, and that is to trust the process. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of people printing out multiple training plans and then trying to piecemeal them together, or perhaps they scrap a plan halfway through and then suddenly they're doing another one. It's going to be really hard to have a successful training block by doing that. And it's also going to be very difficult for you to look back on your training after that training block is done to think about what you can do better for it the next time around, when you can't really pinpoint where perhaps anything was lacking or where your strong points were or your weak points or anything like that. So when you decide to have a plan in the very beginning, and that's why I encourage you to choose a plan from a trusted coach. That doesn't mean they can't be free. There are some free ones out there, including a beginner marathon training plan that I have, that I'll link to that video in case you're interested. But essentially, if you've taken the time to choose that plan, you've researched it well, then it's time to just put it into practice and do what it tells you to do. This includes making sure that you're doing all the runs that you're told to and doing them at the pace that is recommended. So for example, if you have speed work in your training plan and it tells you to do your 10K pace, you're not doing better by going 5K pace. And that is a very common thought process. If you think that you're going harder, you're doing better. But the coach who wrote that plan gave you that workout for a reason, and they are having you build in certain adaptations for your body by giving you that workout. So trust the process, do the work that is being given to you, and everything will fall into place. And that's the same with looking at those long runs that are ahead. Just know if you keep doing the work week after week, you should be able to acclimate to the mileage appropriately that you're being given. Okay, and the 5th one is to stay consistent. Now, I'm going to tell you it is okay to miss a day here or there in your marathon training. Life happens, and don't worry about it if it does. If you miss a run, just don't look back and keep going. In general, you don't have to make up runs that you missed. Long runs are a little bit different, and this is where often a coach is helpful to guide you. If you are someone who has a schedule that's kind of all over the place, help you move things around if you need to. But one of the biggest reasons that people struggle in marathon training is because they miss too many runs. And it's very, very hard to trust the process and acclimate accordingly when you're not doing the mileage that you should be doing. This also can set you up for injury risk if you're missing too many days and then all of a sudden you have a high mileage week that your body isn't actually ready for. So it's extremely important to stay consistent. What I usually say is most of the time where there's a will, there's a way. Sometimes it might be difficult for you to schedule. Perhaps you have a work trip or a busy week or whatever it might be. But if you are strategic and you're putting everything on the calendar, you should usually be able to get in the runs as they are planned for you. All right, so next is being diligent about maintenance and recovery. So this includes things like foam rolling, stretching, your daily nutrition, your recovery runs that are on your schedule, making sure you're doing those super easy. And of course, sleep is incredibly important. Probably above any of those other things that I said, getting good sleep is going to ensure that you are staying free from injury and feeling good and having enough energy for all of those runs. So here's a quote that I read. I actually read it on a couple websites, so I'm not really sure who to attribute it to. I didn't say it, but it's so the truth. The greatest enemy of any aspiring marathoners is injury, and the best protection against injury is rest. So everything that I just talked about, it contributes to that, and making sure that you are eating well throughout the week and just basically eating balanced. You guys know what good eating looks like. You know when you have an off day, and that is okay. Just for the most part, you want to be making sure that you are fueling your body in a way that's going to keep you strong and healthy. So guys, the last thing I want to tell you is to stay positive as much as you possibly can. Believe in yourself. It is very normal to have doubts and fears and days where you don't want to get out the door, where you're completely lacking motivation. All of that everyone experiences, I promise. Even the most experienced marathon runners have those days. You're going to have bad runs, but you have to stay positive through the process. Having to make sacrifices for marathon training can be difficult, but you have to remember why you are doing this in the first place. So I promise you, if you just keep going week after week, stay disciplined, stay consistent, you will be so amazed with what you are capable of doing. And when you get to that start line for your marathon, you will be ready. And that is how you want to feel to have a great experience. So on those off days, reach out to someone, do whatever you can to tap into those positive mantras that you have to just get through it. And you will be so glad that you did. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have other marathon training questions that you want me to go cover in a video, or if I can quickly answer them here, place them in the comments. Always happy to answer. I'll catch you guys in the next video.